Let's talk a bit about responsible use of technology, or what is called digital citizenship. And one of the things we want to focus on here is not to be afraid of technology, but rather to respect it. You see, we don't want to come to this as Christians and say, well, here's all the bad things that can happen with computers, so let's stay away from them. Instead, we say, what can we do with technology? What are any problems? Let's respect it and let's learn how to use it responsibly. So that's going to be our focus. Now, you need to think about what are called digital footprints. You know, when you walk on the beach, you leave footprints behind. Well, when you are on the internet, you are leaving footprints behind as well. And we've heard this with the recent NSA spying scandal and so on, but it has happened before that. And I'd like for us to watch a few videos that demonstrate this. One is called Digital Footprints. Now, the next video is called Your Digital Dossier.
Just about all of us have a digital dossier, but many of us have no idea what it even is. Your dossier is the accumulation of all the digital tracks you leave behind. And this accumulation did not just start last week, month, or even year. It started before you were even born. The line between your digital dossier and your identity is constantly shifting. One way to see the implication of this movement is to imagine how information goes into the file of a child born today. Let's call him Andy. The first entry into Andy's file occurs while he's still 5 months into the womb. It is a sonogram, probably framed by his parents, or even forwarded via email to their closest relatives. The same picture will also be copied in Andy's hospital folder and into a file for the pediatrician who will take over after his birth. As the new baby grows, so do the number of items in his digital file. Andy's barcoded bracelet lists facts like gender, time of birth, surname, and more. Friends and family will come to meet the baby, bring gifts, and take more photos, probably with phones or digital cameras. These photos are then also uploaded to other Flickr feeds or Facebook albums as part of the welcoming process. Andy's parents will use their phones to spread the news with SMS text messages, saying something along the lines of "healthy baby boy, born 6 pounds at 5:30 p.m. Friends will also post to the Flickr feeds, which will conveniently contain multitudes of Andy's pictures. This process of capturing and spreading pictures will continue for Andy's entire life, with pictures of the first time Andy sits, stands, walks, and talks. As Andy grows, he will now be able to independently share information about himself. He registers as a user on Neopets, where he fills out his name, age, birth date, and other details. Half of the blanks may not be even necessary to fill out, but Andy does not notice the significance of the asterisks as described at the bottom of the page. And so, Andy grows bigger, taller, and broader, and with him grows his digital dossier. As an adolescent, he is sucked into Facebook, where he posts pictures, videos, and information about his likes and dislikes. Facebook in turn deposits cookies into his web browser, tracking his activities. He signs up for a Gmail account and regularly uses Google to research for information needed in school assignments. Google in turn keeps tabs on all the searches Andy makes from his IP address. In college, he buys books from Amazon, which asks for his mailing address and credit card number. Andy's credit card company adds even more details to his dossier: the date, time, location, and price of every purchase he makes. And as Andy moves around, the GPS in his cell phone enables his service provider to know where he is and how many times he has been there recently. He is also filmed by surveillance cameras whenever he walks into secured college buildings. When Andy gets married, his dossier expands to encompass all the information about his wife, and they start a weblog together to share their thoughts and opinions online. Together they compile shelf upon shelf of digital tracks, files that are recorded and stored under their names. And when Andy has his first baby, aptly named Andy Jr., the cycle is started all over again. These data points, some publicly accessible, others safeguarded to various degrees by companies and agencies that collect and store this data, make Andy's identity as it forms, even before he himself begins to shape it. And Andy's digital dossier will even grow after his death. Photos or videos of the funeral, RIP messages on MSN Messenger, or his Facebook status posts. Andy probably never knew how large his dossier was. How aware are you of the tracks you leave behind? Want to learn more about your digital dossier?
And the next video is called Think Before You Post.
Oh, man. Feel back compound gain 46.7% by weight. Compound
Once you post your image online, you can't take it back. Anyone can see it. Family, friends, anyone. Remember.
One thing you need to keep in mind is that you should not post private information in an online source. That is, you shouldn't be giving out your phone number, your address, your age. Don't do things like post when you're going to be at home. You don't send these through email. Don't send these through, in Facebook postings or other things. Don't pass these around. Okay. Now, sometimes there are sites that you sign up for that we tell you at school to sign up for, and so they do ask for your address, and that's legitimate because the things that we ask you to do are legitimate. But in general, you want to be careful what you're putting out there because people can search for that and they can find information and put things together to know, for example, how old you are, whether you're male or female, and when you might be at home alone. And all of a sudden, then you have no idea who that might be. So again, it's a matter of being careful and being responsible with what you do. Now, here's a quote from the football coach at Ole Miss, Hugh Freeze, who was the coach that was portrayed in the movie Blind Side, if you're familiar with that movie. But he tells his football players, when talking about Twitter, he says, when you hit send, you're building your resume. That's part of who you are, and it's not going to go away. See, we've heard problems about, I'm a college football fan, and you hear about college football players who will tweet something and all of a sudden it's all over the news and it's inappropriate and it gets them in trouble. And so what he says is, if you think about building a resume, you look ahead to when you want to get a job and you think, when I post something, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's Twitter, whatever it might be, when I post that, I am building the resume for my future. Then that will help govern and help protect what you're doing, that you think about it a bit more. Here's another video we can watch along these lines. 2 kinds of stupid.
Hey, I'm Eduardo. I'm a junior at NHS. I'm not anything special, pretty normal. I get good grades, and my friends are pretty cool.
What's up, Eddie?
And even my parents aren't too bad.
We love you, mijo.
I also do a little swimming. Actually, some recruiters have been checking me out. I'm hoping to get a scholarship for college, so my parents don't have to worry too much about tuition. Last week was a championship meet, and it was awesome. Our team owned it, and I set a school record in freestyle. Someone from the team decided to throw a party, and it was crazy. Everyone from school was there, including the hot girl from my science class.
Hey, Annie!
People were acting so crazy, I had to take them pictures, man. I may have had a little too much fun. It probably wasn't the smartest thing to take pictures, but then I got really dumb and posted them on my page. It's just what everyone does. And I didn't even think to use my privacy settings. So once I posted them, everyone could see them, and anyone could share them. I found that out when I was called to the principal's office and saw some of the pictures from my page sitting on her desk. Coach was there too, and he was really disappointed. It seems like one of my so-called friends had sent them the pictures. But which one? It could have been anybody. My ex-girlfriend, who's always mad at me for something. One of my teammates, who seemed kinda jealous. It could have even been some guy I spoke to once in the 9th grade. I guess it doesn't even matter, because I'm the one who put the pictures up there in the first place. Now my principal's saying that I violated the student-athlete code of conduct. I signed it at the beginning of the year, and it's 0 tolerance. Meaning, no more chances. I'm off the team. Goodbye scholarship. On top of that, I got suspended. I've never seen my parents so mad. Even my teammates won't talk to me. Some of them were in those pictures, and they've been called into the principal's office too. At first, I was really mad at whoever sent the pictures. What business was it of theirs? But then, I realized that as soon as I posted the pictures online, I made it their business. It was really all me. I was two kinds of stupid. I was the one who broke the rules, and then I posted the pictures online. It was one mistake after another. So that's my story. I used to be this kid, and now I'm this kid. And this was all it took.
Now, it's not only a matter of problems you can get into, there are positive things to think about as you post online. So here's a video called Positive Posting that addresses this.
I've seen pictures also, people put up like pictures like where they were kind of revealing a lot. You know, I feel like they're not that explicit in person, but I feel like they put up pictures just to attract certain attention or to attract people that they don't know. People will put up statuses that to me are kind of disrespectful sometimes, especially if your parent was actually a part of you on your page, you would not put that up. So I feel like you should be respectful to people who are around you and people who are actually looking at your page. Make sure that if you're gonna have something on your page, something that anybody that you care about or anybody that you know would, be fine with looking at, not like including your parents, family members, People put it like a little pictures of them like their shirt off if it's a guy, and like it wasn't seen as bad because everybody was doing it. I personally didn't agree with it. I'm like, why do you need to do that? Like, I understand if they put up pictures of they're at the beach or something, but if it's just like a little camera picture in the bathroom of them like with like their shirt off or like showing something, to me it's just really unprofessional. I heard now that a lot of colleges actually look at, like, search you on Facebook to actually check out if they want to have you as a student or not. So a lot of my friends kind of changed their last name or changed their first name in order for them not to be found or make it so you can't be found. With me, I didn't really change it because I really didn't have anything to hide. If anything, I feel like it would help me in a way, for the colleges to look at me, and I actually got admitted to San Francisco State. Part of it is because it shows that I'm really active with family members, because I have a lot of pictures of my family in there. I have older pictures. And also if I'm not sure if they actually can see all the statuses, but a lot of the statuses I put up are connected to some of the work I do, because I'm also a community organizer with the organization called Youth Together. So I put up a lot of statuses about that, or I put up my music. And I'm really kind of responsible. I have 2 sisters that I take care of. I don't have any pictures of me at parties doing crazy stuff. I don't have any of that. I think colleges will actually like my Facebook page because it kind of shows that I'm active. And I feel like it just kind of if you look at my page, it's nothing. I feel like there's nothing on there that kind of brings me down.
Now let's talk more broadly about digital citizenship, how you conduct yourself online. Now, please remember, as Christians, we are not entering into a realm here of online communication where the Bible does not apply. But the Bible teaches us about things like godly speech, about behavior, about thinking on things that are true and right and pure. Those apply just as much as they do when you're typing online as they do when you're speaking to somebody. What you say online is what is coming out of your mouth, is coming out of your heart. So you want to govern whatever you do online, whatever you say online, you govern it by the Word of God. One problem is cyberbullying, and here's a video that addresses that.
I heard about a lot of things my friends were doing online that were really mean or just plain crazy. I never thought I would do anything like that. One day my friend Pat showed me a website he made. He posted a list of girls in our school and had guys we know go on and rate them. Sort of a hot or not kind of website. I thought it was pretty funny, so I rated them too. We had a good laugh and I thought that was the end of it. The next day everyone at school was talking about it. He had sent it out to the whole school to see. I could tell a couple of girls had been crying, and I knew it was because of what the guys had said about them and how they looked. I felt bad, but I didn't really get it until I went home that night. Turns out, the guys had put my little sister on the site too, but hid it from me because they knew I would get upset. She was crying when I got home, and she wouldn't even look at me. I would never have said those things to someone's face. I didn't even mean them. I thought it was just a joke between friends. Now Pat's suspended from school, and they might kick me out too. Once you put something online, you lose control of it. You can never get it back, and people can use it in ways you never even meant. I learned that the hard way. I wish I never saw that stupid site.
Now think about pictures that you post and websites. There are going to be times as you're doing work for school or at home when you are doing a legitimate search for something. And we have a pretty strong filtering system here to try to filter out objectionable materials. But no filtering system, I don't care what it is, no filtering system is perfect. All the bad guys, all of them are constantly finding ways around filters. So there may be a time when you're doing a legitimate search for something online and something pops up that is inappropriate. Picture, a search takes you to a website that is totally inappropriate. It might be obscene, it might be pornographic, it might just be very offensive. What do you do about that? Well, what we would like for you to do, your first reaction is going to be close it down, X out of it, get rid of it. And that may be what you do, but what would be helpful to you and for us would be to do something a bit different. If you're here at school or if you're at home, okay, this happens, but let's say you're here at school, you're surfing on one of the school computers and you come across an objectionable picture, cover the screen. If you've got a jacket, drape it over the screen. The computers in the tech lab here, you can very gently lay them down on their face. But turn the screen over or close it, or not close the window, but cover up the screen so nobody can see it, and then immediately go and get a teacher. Come and see me, get one of the other teachers, bring them and show them what you found, show them how you got there. Okay, that's helpful. If you say, well, I was doing a search for this and here's what came up. Okay, that helps us because then we can take steps to try to block that, or we can take steps to remedy that. So if something objectionable comes up, if you're doing it at home, do the same thing, just show your parents. Just say, hey, Mom, Dad, I was looking for this and here's what came up. And then they can take care of things. Okay, so we would encourage you take that approach if something inappropriate shows up. As you're doing work online, it's very easy to fall into the trap of plagiarism. And so that is still a problem. It's still something that we will be addressing. So if you're writing papers for class, you will be using turnitin.com to check for plagiarism. But you need to be careful that you're paraphrasing things, that if you do quote things, that you do cite your sources properly. And your English teachers will be talking more about that with you. Then there's the issue of fair use or copyright laws. Okay. A lot of times, like if you're doing a presentation for a class and you want pictures to illustrate something, you just go out on the web and find a picture and you copy it and paste it in. The problem is that there are people, photographers for example, who put pictures on their website because they're wanting to sell them or they're wanting to demonstrate to people how they're a good photographer. And those pictures are copyrighted. And so if you copy those, if you just copy and paste them, then you're violating copyright laws and you're not going by what is called fair use. Instead, what you can do, there's a site called Creative Commons, and I'm going to demonstrate that in a minute, but Creative Commons website will help you to find images or things that are in the public domain, images that are legitimate for you to use, and there's a lot of them. Okay, it's not going to restrict you, but this just means that then you are able to use these images properly without having to worry about violating copyright. So let's look at the Creative Commons website and see how that would work. Now let's look at the Creative Commons website. Notice the address here, search.creativecommons.org. When you enter that, then you come to a site that looks like this. So let's say that I'm doing a presentation and my presentation is on airplanes, or I want a picture of airplanes. Well, I can first enter in my search query up here, airplanes, and I want something. Here's a couple of check boxes. You can check I want something I can use for commercial purposes, or I can modify or adapt or build upon it. Now, you're doing a presentation for class, you're probably not going to be using it for commercial purposes. That is, you're not doing it to sell something. You're not going to sell this presentation. But you do want to be able to modify, adapt, or build upon it. That is, you're going to use it in something. So you keep that checkbox there. So we have airplanes, and here's several sites that you can check, that you can look for with different purposes or something like that. Well, let's just stick here with Google Images. So I click there, and it does a search. And notice now it comes back, and here is a list of airplanes. But notice this right here, it says these are labeled for reuse with modification. That is, these pictures have been cleared by whoever posted them to be used in a presentation. So you can look down here, you can look around and see what the different pictures are, and you can find something that looks good. Maybe you say, okay, here is the picture I want to use. So you click on that picture, and here's what you have. You have this picture of taxiing airplanes at DXB. I forget what airport that is, but anyway, you say you want to use this. So then you're able to take this picture, you're able to copy it and paste it into your website. The main thing is that you want to also include this web address, commons.wikimedia.org. Okay, that tells where you got the picture from. So that's how you can use the Creative Commons search website. Okay, so after you find an image or something like that, you still should cite it. So you're doing a presentation and you have a PowerPoint and you take a picture, you copy a picture off the web, even if it's allowed for fair use, you should still put on your PowerPoint slide, for the website you got it from. Something like that. Just put that as a notation, or if it's the last slide in your presentation or something like that, where you cite your sources, where you say, here's where I got these from. So that's proper digital citizenship. Now let's talk about just a few general classroom procedures as we're involved in this BYOD program. Remember, the teacher is in charge of the classroom. If the teacher says no technology, then there's no technology. If the teacher says to put your screens down or something like that, then you do it. You're not allowed just to say, well, we're doing BYOD, so I need my device for this. No, if the teacher says put it away or whatever they say, the teacher is in charge. So keep that in mind. One code phrase or standard phrase the teacher's going to be using is screens down. Screens down means if you have a tablet or a phone, just turn your device over so the screen is down on the desk. Turn it all the way over. If you have a laptop, close your laptop. Or I know with some laptops, if you close them, then they go to sleep or something like that. At least put the screen down to where it's almost closed so you can't see it and other people can't see it. Okay? If you don't close it entirely, at least close it almost all the way. But that's when the teacher says screen's down. You do that. Okay. The teacher might say spot check. When the teacher says spot check, you turn your device around immediately so the teacher can see what's on your device. Okay. Spot check does not mean that you quickly close whatever windows you were looking at and then show it to the teacher. It means spot check, you turn it around immediately. If it's a tablet, if it's a phone, that's pretty easy to do. If it's a laptop, it takes a little bit more finagling to turn it around, but whatever you do, you turn it around so the teacher can see what's on your screens. We want your devices to be on top of your desk. So if you are using them, obviously we want them on top of your desk. This is going to apply especially to tablets and phones. Don't hold them down in your lap to use them. Have them on top of your desk. And if you're not using them, you also want them on top of your desk. This is just for us to see that you're not doing something you shouldn't be with your device. If you have screens down, that doesn't mean put your device away. It means set it on top of your desk with the screen down so the teacher can see, okay, I see all of their devices and I see that they're all face down. If you just say you're going to put it away, well, you could hide it in your lap. It's hard to put a laptop in your lap, but with tablets and phones, it is possible. So that's what we mean, put it on top of your desk. We also want you to have your devices flat on your desk if possible. Even when you're using them, we'd like for them to be flat. So again, tablets and phones is pretty easy. You can put it down on your desk. If you have a laptop, obviously you can't have the screen flat, but have it open as much as possible. Again, this is so that the teachers can see what you're doing. Okay? We don't want you to have your tablet up, holding it up so that it's right in front of your face and nobody can see what's going on. We want it to be down on the desk. Work on it on your desk. Okay? Just keep things as flat as possible there. Now, there are going to be questions that come up about technology, whether it's fair use, whether it's any of these things about digital citizenship, or if it's technical issues about how to use them. So if any questions come up, please feel free to email me. Let me know. If you're a student, you can come see me. If you're a parent, drop me an email, and we will seek to answer your questions as best as we can. So I hope this is helpful for you.